Hello, Big Brother fans. Episode review of episode number 17 of Big Brother 14. We start with the HOH competition. There are 3 jugs that need to be filled. You could choose one of the 3 jugs. One is the biggest one, and that was if you wanted to go for the HOH. And then there were 2 smaller ones, one for $10,000 and one to keep you safe for the week. Boogie immediately directly went into the $10,000 jug, and Frank was on the sidelines wondering, what is he doing? My safety and your safety are, at play here, and so I'm not understanding how Frank isn't taking a little bit more of this in, to realize that this guy is not out to help Frank win. This guy is out to help himself win. And if it's, if it's by hook or by crook, it's going to be by money, right? So, I don't know. Frank really needs to start reassessing the way this game is being played and who he's considering his alliance. Danielle immediately, Shane immediately, and Ian immediately decided that they were going to go for the HOH. Dan wanted to go for safety, as well as Ashley and Brittany. And as we eventually find out, Brittany wins the safety. So once that happens, Ashley and Dan have to switch off and try to go for the HOH. So by that time, if Dan had been thinking correctly, instead of going directly for safety, he really should have made sure he was safe by going directly for the HOH, because if he had, I think he probably would have won, because if you took what he had done, filled the jug so far with the safety and poured it into the HOH, he would have been a very, very, very close with Shane, who eventually won HOH. So Shane wins, and immediately after that, Ian takes Brittany in to go talk, and he says he wanted to make sure that the Quack Pack knows what's going on. So he told her that just prior to the HOH, Boogie took him on the side and asked him who he would nominate if he were to win HOH. He goes, Brittany? I mean, that's all it was. It was just a question. But when you think about it, is anything just a question when it comes to Boogie? He says, you have to think about this before you go, before you go out there. And I'm thinking, well, why do you need to think about this before you go out there? You have a whole entire day to think about it. If, the minute that you win HOH, the next day isn't, and, is when you have to come up with your nominations. So like I said, is it just a question, or is it not a question? You know what I mean? Was Ian playing it up by giving her this information and making her paranoid self think immediately, oh my God, he's coming after me and Shane? Which is exactly where her mind went. And so she goes directly up, and the Quack Pack decide to have their little powwow. And Brittany was the first one to bring up, we need to put up Frank and Boogie together. Okay, now this information is going to come into play in the next episode on Wednesday. And so I won't go too much into that. If you're not into spoilers, just keep that in mind. Brittany was the first one in the room that brought up Frank and Boogie being put up on the block. Okay? Shane wavers, saying he doesn't really want to, because what it's going to do is it's going to put blood on his hands. And since next week he won't be able to play for HOH, he, you're only safe from one of them. If you put up both of them, one goes home, one stays. When that one stays, that's what you have to watch out for. All the, what happens because of that. Ian seconds, immediately in seconds, and says, yeah, we need to go after Frank and Boogie. And then Ian states right then and there that his true alliance is with the Quack Pack, and it is not with Frank and Boogie. That you need to also keep into mind, because things will come out in Wednesday's episode that will show all the, the fallout from that as well. Shane said that he really wanted to stay true to the Silent Six, but because Frank and Boogie wants to go after him and Brittany, he said all bets are off. So then again, it brings you back to, was Boogie's questioning, who are you going to put up, Brittany? Was it just a question? Was it something that he planted in Ian's mind? Did Ian kind of blow that out of proportion? And by telling Brittany, did Brittany freak out just a tiny bit? I mean, he was just asking a question. Anyway, so here we go, and we come down to Ian and Ashley are going to have a date. Again. So they decide that his pit hairs are just way too gross and apely, and all. I mean, the things they were doing to dig of a description of Ian's pits were hilarious. I'm not a super fan of the manscaping, with the plucking and the pit situation and whatnot. I ain't gonna say that in some instances, it's not displeasing, that's for sure, but it's just something about Ian, because he looks so young, and then not having pit hair is just kind of, I sat through that whole entire scene like this. And then I asked my family, do you think that this look will ever come off my face? It was disturbing. One of the lines that he actually said was, in real life, 3 beautiful women don't usually hold me down and rub lotion on me. And I was thinking, in your real life, right. Oh, bless his heart. He's hilarious, though. He is pretty funny. The date was, it was painfully awkward. He thought it was good, of course, bless his heart. Ashley said it was pretty boring and not as good as her risque date with Frank. And meanwhile, he's saying, as soon as Frank's out of the picture, then, I'm good to go. And I'm like, oh, bless your heart. She just wants to be friends. Shane and Joe talk upstairs, which was very interesting to me. He wanted to let him know that Frank and Boogie were going to be going up, and Joe promises his military oath that he'll throw himself in front of a bus to save him. I'm putting your your quest to being the winner ahead of my quest, and I'm thinking, come on. Of course they also showed a package about Joe's fantastical stories as well. So I'm sure that's the reason why they led all of that up to that, letting us know that all his stories are pretty fantastical. So, saying that he's going to put his military oath out there. Although I'm gonna go out there and say I don't think that Joe I don't think he's really stabbed anybody in the back or done anybody wrong. He's been a pretty straight shooter in this game, and he talks to people. He makes sure he doesn't corner them off to make them feel uncomfortable while he's talking to them and pleading for their vote, so that they don't feel like they're backed against the wall. He's a pretty straight shooter, which is really nice, actually. Prior to the numbs, Boogie said that on a scale of 1 to 10, he felt pretty safe, like at a level 9, which was pretty LOL moment, because I knew what was going to be coming up. So, Boogie and Frank being nominated at the nomination ceremony, seeing their face was pretty priceless, because they were pretty much blindsided by this. Shane said later on he had a weird nomination speech, which Boogie did kind of tear apart. It didn't make any sense to me. I mean, gifts and questions and blah blah blah. I don't think he expressed himself correctly. I'm sure he was what he was meaning to say was that that question mark box that they found in that ball game is something that caused him concern. But if he did explain himself, it was edited to not make sense. But anyway, later on he said that he needed to strike while the iron was hot, and that he had the numbers at this point to get one of them out. And I really can't wait until Wednesday's episode. So anyway, we will see you then.